Hi, good people. This is Deborah again. Let me read the disclaimer. All information provided on this channel is for educational purposes only. This channel strives to enlighten rather than to promote or encourage misuse of the information. I encourage you to always consider your intuition and discernment. When I use certain words, it is not to offend anyone, but to express my perspective and passion. I encourage you to take what resonates with you and what does not resonate with you, put it on the shelf or throw it away. Now, this video is intended for educational and informative purposes only. The content discusses relates to sexual health, wellness, empowerment, and is designed to promote understanding, healing, and conscious awareness. This video does not contain graphic content, nudity, or sexual explicit material, and compile with YouTube community guidelines. Viewers' discretion is advised, and this content is intended for mature audience 18 years and older who seek knowledge in respectful and safe environment. Take what resonates with you and what does not resonate with you, put it on the shelf or throw it away. Now, this particular video is about sex. I wanted to come on and talk about sex because the reason when you see me come in and talk about these kind of videos is because I have been approached by different age brackets. And what I'm talking about when you hear me talking, I'm be talking about the different age brackets that I have experienced. And I'm also going to give you my own experience and my intuition as well. Now, some people think that it's okay to have free sex because I'm grown. You can't tell me nothing. I do what I want to do. And they freely talking about oral sex. Now, I'm going to break down the disease part for you. All right? And I'm going to take it to parasites. Because you need to understand. I put together already a video about parasites, and I'm going to release it probably sometime next week coming up. But when you're having oral sex, you are receiving parasites in your body. When you don't have a bowel movement the same day, that gives room for parasites in your body. I've heard people talk about and put people down that have HIV/AIDS. It's still, parasites are infectious as well. Chlamydia is infectious. Gonorrhea is infectious. What else? Syphilis is infectious. They're not curable disease. They can be cured, but they're not curing them. All they're doing is giving you stuff to treat them. Okay? Now, I know somebody that said that they had HIV/AIDS and they're cured. Now, but they had the money. So I wouldn't doubt that anything that's out there is curable, because I believe, and my intuition told me that there are herbs for everything that we have down here. There are herbs to cure everything that we have down here. We just have to know what those herbs are. Unfortunately, we don't know. We don't know. And honestly, the herbs that you get, the pharmaceuticals use them, but they add other stuff to it. Now, if it's coming from the ground, a lot of things are happening to the ground, and so you may not get it in its purest form. Anyway, now let's get back to the sex. I wanted to give you a little background about things so you can know when you're having sex, oral sex, you're transferring fluids. Okay? Uh, Even if you use a condom, condoms are not protective. I had a copper IUV, something like that, in me, and I got pregnant with my last child. So nothing is guaranteed, okay? Nothing is guaranteed, you know. So my point is, you're not guaranteed to uh, uh, to be excluded from any type of sexual infectious disease. If you're having sex with Tom, Dick, and Harry, you're gonna get some stuff. And I have literally heard some people talking about oral sex just like it ain't nothing. I'm talking about freely talking about it like it's just the great thing to do. I have never did that. I never did oral. It's been done on me, but I have never did it because I've always been the type of person, my mouth is made for food. Oral sex is not food for me. So and my son told me, he said, you're going to lose a man because you won't do that. I didn't care. It's no big deal for me. But that ain't why I lost anybody that I dealt with. I wasn't the only person that I was interested in dealing with was my ex-husband. Not my second one, because he would play. But my first one, but when he fixed his mouth and said to me, I'm going to divorce your ass, and he said it just like that. I'm going to divorce your ass. I'm like, okay. I gave him the divorce. I divorced him. Because I'm the type of person, I'm not going to force myself on you. That's not how I operate. If you fix your mouth and tell me whatever, I'm going to do it. You tell me you don't want to be my friend or you don't want to be around me, bye, I'm gone. Because I just don't do that. That's just not my character. But females that are sleeping with all these different guys, you're messing up yourself. You're messing yourself up, and you don't know how to clean up when you mess yourself up. When you do that stuff, you have to go through a spiritual change. When you have trauma with that stuff, trauma takes a little longer to clean up, and it has to be spiritual. It is not you go to some female that said you sit on an egg or you sit on something warm to heal your vagina. Your vagina is not being healed that way. That's some bullshit. Okay? That's some bullshit. You're not being healed sitting on no egg or whatever they call that. They call themselves healing you. That's crap. It has to be a mental. You have to go through a mental transformation to be healed from those sexual. I know because I've been through them myself. Same thing with the male. Because you're taking all these people in your bedroom with you. Let me just break it down like this. Say, for instance, you sleep with a man that is a bisexual. Okay, but you said you call yourself a straight female. If you keep sleeping with this bisexual male, you're going to start looking at females. Because now you have that spirit on you. Don't take my word for it. Pay attention. Same thing with a male. If you're sleeping with a bisexual female, you're going to start looking at males. Those are transferable spirits that take place on you. If a child get raped when she grows up, she's going to continue doing what she's doing because she has that spirit on her. Same thing with the male. If he gets raped, he's going to continue doing the same thing. And in both of your mind, you think it's okay. It's not okay. Let me just tell you, there's two types of marriage. One is a paperwork marriage, and it only bonds you to the system so they can make money off you. And then there's that spiritual marriage. When a man enters into you, you are married to that person the first time. That signifies marriage. That's the spiritual marriage. Now, when I use the word spiritual, I don't mean that is exactly pure, that is exactly cleansed. I don't mean it like that. Because that's two types of spiritual. You got that fourth dimension all up in there. It's just the invisible. And there are all kinds of wickedness take place in that fourth dimension. That's spiritual too. But then there's a place that you go to that's higher than that, which you got to go through alchemical change to even get in that place mentally. Because you ain't going to get there. You're operating in the fourth dimension. I'd be cracking up when I be hearing people talking about they're in the sixth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh dimension. You ain't in no fifth dimension smoking weed. Are you serious? You ain't in no fifth dimension doing some alcohol. Are you serious? No. You're not in that place. That's what the illusion does to you. And I hear some people say, I'm in a higher place. You ain't in no higher place. You right there in that fourth dimension. Because that's what the illusion is. That place of illusion will have you thinking you're in a higher place, and you're right there. You're right there. And it also have you thinking what you're doing. The ego is connected to that fourth dimension. The ego is a part of the masculine. Oh, they don't twist it and tweaked and just confused all the words. While you was out there working hard on somebody's job trying to gain some material possession, they were working hard at words and tweaking and reversing and changing stuff. Yeah. While you sleeping, they changing stuff. So, what I wanted to say to you is this as well. Because you are in your lower self, as a female, as a male, and you get pregnant, you're going to produce a child that is in lower vibration. Why? Because you produced that child in lower vibration. And then that child going to come out and you're going to start saying, oh, he just like his daddy. But he's like his mama, his daddy, and his ancestors. And then himself or herself. All that. You see, they said that they put emphasis on you having a baby when you get young, when you're young, because when you get old, or you ain't going to be able to have a baby. That's a lie. That is a lie. They want you to have babies when you're young because they know that you're not fully developed spiritually. And so you're going to have babies that's not developed spiritually. You ever heard of people that say, oh, he's an old soul or she's an old soul? Those are people that's been here before, and you can tell because they start when they're little. They different. They different from when you having babies in low vibration. They're different. They come in that way. They special beings. they come in knowing stuff. You had nothing to do with it. And you get those sometimes. But I think it's important that you take a look at yourselves sexually. Because when you, as a female, take a picture of your behind, if you pay attention, males don't want that no more from you. And you're disrespecting yourself. Males are looking at other males. And now they got the polygamy thing going on. And the females are so insecure, they think polygamy is the way to go because we got a shortage of males. If there's a male out there for you, he's going to come to you. You don't have to have a fear. That's a customary thing. It's a custom to grow up and get a husband and have children and have good material possession and have good jobs. And that's customary. That's not the true way. But that's customary. So it's okay if you want to discover who you are and go out and see the world and then, when you get a certain age, then you come back and say, okay, now I want to get married. That's okay. But to try to go and get married when you broke, he broke, you pregnant, you have a child, and all you're going to do is wind up in the divorce court. Or he going to wind up in somebody else's arms. And then he going to do the same thing to her because she messed around with him while he was married to you, and he going to do the same thing to her that he did to you. And it's just a cycle. So it makes no sense to do those kind of things. Stop taking your behind, turning it to the camera, and taking a picture of it. Because guys are looking at you saying, that's nasty. Guys are looking at you in totally disrespect. Just disrespect. Because if he doesn't respect you when you doing oral sex with him, you think he's gonna respect you if you take a picture of your behind? For as long as you disrespect yourself, he's gonna disrespect you. The day that you start respecting yourself is the day that he will start respecting you. And I hear people talk about, oh, it's okay to have sex. It's not okay. It's okay to be in polygamy. It's not okay. The only person being satisfied in polygamy is that male. Most of them can't even hold it up past 45 minutes. What if that woman wants some the same time the other woman wants some? He can't give it to her. He can't produce. Unless he gets some Viagra. Not trying to put the male down. I'm just telling you what he's capable of. And then the other thing about the female, she has emotions. He, out of the two, he will make a decision which one of them he prefer having sex with the most. And then the other one is going to eventually feel alienated or rejected. The only group of so-called religious group that does that polygamy, they don't really announces it, is the Muslims. It's straight polygamy. I remember there was a guy that I met online, and I thought he was back then I was trying to connect with people that I thought had similar interested in the same thing I was as far as knowledge was concerned, and I wound up talking to a guy where he hit me up, and so I was cooking for a young lady that was coming in town, and I told him about her, and I invited him and his brother over and to eat. And lo and behold, it was followers of Malachi York. It's two brothers. And the first thing he asked me is that, do I believe in polygamy? And I told him, no, I don't believe in polygamy at all. I don't like sharing. I don't share my man with nobody. I think and it's for several different reasons. And reason being is because of diseases. And reason being is that I don't want to connect with somebody that he may be screwing outside of me. Because whether you accept it or not, it's true. I remember my ex-husband, he thought I didn't know. There was never a time that he didn't cheat on me. He cheated on me from the beginning. And because I had a problem with sex. And so that was acceptable till I found out that the fluids are transferable, the spirits are transferable. So the females that he slept with, I used to dream about them. And then he had the audacity. I guess one of the females, he really liked it. I guess she wanted to see me, see what I looked like. So he told me he wanted to meet me for lunch, and he bringing her for lunch, and I guess he was looking for a reaction from me. At that time, I had problems with my son, so I wasn't caring about who he was sleeping with. I just didn't care at the time. But and he thought I was sleeping around, but at the time I was not. But I used to dream about that girl that he brought. So and her smell, her stinking smell was on him. I used to smell it. And that's the other thing. But you really have to pay more attention about what you get in bed with. Because that's why so many people are bisexuals. That's why so many people are in polygamy. Because they're attaching themselves to these people that are doing it secretly and is not telling you they're doing it. You're getting the fluids from them. That's where it's coming from. And you may have said to yourself, where did this come from? It comes from you having sex. My ex-husband had something, and he didn't tell me he had it. When he went to be tested by the company that he was going to be working for, that's when I found out he had something. But that I was already married to. You got to find out, you got to get to know these people. Don't just have sex with them. And you don't have to use toys. Let your finger do the walking. You see this finger? Let your finger do the walking. Learn how to work your finger. They do. You got men that is masters in masturbating. And trust me, when you get really efficient in masturbating with your finger, it becomes a thing of it just you get that wonderful feeling quickly, and you're done with it, and it's much safer than you sleeping with some Tom, Dick, and Harry and all that. See, let me just tell you about this. If the females tell the truth, you know why a lot of females just lay in the bed when you're trying to do that with her? She lay there because you're not pleasing her. That's why she lay there. If she's going to get an orgasm just like you, she would be more participated. But that's why. And females, you need to tell these guys the truth about that. Because that's why you lay there. And she goes outside of the marriage because you're not pleasing her. But guess what? If you get to know the person before you get married to them, you know exactly what's up. You know. And then you don't get involved with them if they're not to your standard. You know. And don't talk about your daughters. Your daughters do what they see you doing. They see you bringing a male in and out of the house, the home. They grow up, they do the same thing around their children. Don't do that. Take the guy and go over to his house. If you got to have it. You know, there's a movie that Spike Lee did called She Gotta Have It. If you gotta have it, go there. Go over there with them. Don't bring them guys into your household and over your children. There's a female right today. I thought she was so spiritual. Only to find out, I mean, she got a lot of kids. Only to find out she's dealing with a guy. Why would you think a guy is going to love you with all them kids that you have? He's not going to. He's in it for a different reason. Males normally don't get involved with females with a whole lot of kids anyway. But if he's involved with a female with a whole lot of kids, he has a different agenda. And it ain't for love. Most females, they want love. They want love. And that's why they out there searching. And it's really pitiful now because now females are throwing themselves off on males. Just throwing themselves off. I never had to do that. I never had to throw myself off any male. They always came to me. Now, my ex-husband told a couple of people that I was aggressive with him. Now, I'm going to tell you the story. Now, you tell me who was aggressive. This man, I was waiting on the bus. He was sitting on there was a, I think it was I forgot, maybe church. And we were sitting on the steps waiting on the bus. I was anyway. And so he sit there for a while, and then he asked me about one of the ladies that worked with me. And I told him she hopped in the car with some guy. But she was a whore. She was always hopping in the car with different guys, and I know she was a whore because there was talk about her on the job. But anyway, so he got on the bus, and then he asked me, would I like to go to the movies with him? That's when Superfly came out. And when Superfly came out, we went to the movies, and he used to live in New York. And I guess in New York, they have sex in the movie theater. So he tried to have sex with me in the theater. And so I told him, that ain't going to happen. And so he did apologize when he saw I wasn't going to participate. But then he kept calling me. And I ignored his call for maybe about 3 months. And then I had a problem. And I needed to get away. And so I decided to get away. And I decided my son needed a daddy. And then I started to show interest in him. But he told people that I perceived him. I pursued him. I didn't pursue him. But that's the lie he told. I guess that to make him feel good. But I never had to pursue a guy. Guys always pursued me. For whatever reason, they pursued me. And even today, they still pursue me. But a lot of older guys don't want older females no more. They want the young girls so they can be their sugar daddies. And that's sad. You can't do nothing except what you have become. Viagra only lasts for a moment. It's not real anyway. You're not getting the sensation that you supposed to get. You're getting something synthetic. But anyway, I just want to come on and say this about sex. Rethink what you're doing. Have integrity about what you're doing. Most of all, look at it from a spiritual standpoint. If you don't know yourself, you're going to have children that don't know themselves, and they're going to come out with low vibration just like yourself. Become a high vibrational person. Y'all always talking about goddess and gods. You can't have a goddess unless you are a goddess in high vibration. Okay? You can't do that. You can't have a god unless you're in high vibration. That means you're in high vibration, the male is in high vibration. That's how you have a god and goddess. If you're in low vibration, all you getting is little I don't like to call them that, but you're getting low vibrational kids. And then they got to go through some stuff. Think about it, people. But until the next time, take care.